Economic Development and Redevelopment Authority meeting, and we have a quorum here today. So, John, is there anything else that we need to add or delete on to our agenda, or are we good?
No, Mr. President, we're all set on the agenda.
Okay, so we'll start with our minutes from last meeting, and if everybody has had a chance to review them, if there's any additions or changes to them. And good morning.
Good morning.
And we would just ask for a motion to approve our minutes from the May 12th meeting. And a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our bills for May. John or
Summary of the bills we had for May, a couple of loan payouts here for Spiral Food Co-ops were the most substantial things that we had. Also payment of taxes for Block 28 because we acquired those last year post July 1st. We were liable for the taxes for this year, so we have that payment for those properties we acquired. And then grant facade improvement payments, and then some other expenses beyond that. So I can stand for any questions.
questions for John? Hearing none, I look for a motion to approve the bills. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed, and that carries. First item on our is our business for the stencil edition TIF project. So who will be talking on that?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, before HEDRA this morning, two resolutions related to the Lake Isabel Flats project. You've seen this a few times when we've been going through and working between the TIF attorney and the city's attorney, going through and making sure that all the documents are in the proper order for recording. Essentially what came up was, so Mr. Stencil acquired an adjacent private property under a separate LLC. We previously adopted a new agreement including Lake Isabel Flats LLC and the NSKW LLC. After going around again with the attorneys in terms of order of operations with recording the plat, said that that was not going to work based on how we had it set up, that we need to have it all just with Lake Isabel Flats LLC, and that they would work it out. No terms of the redevelopment contract have changed, so we still close this Thursday, June 9th, construction to commence by June 30th. That is all in there. So what we're first looking for is terminating the contract, a resolution, again, to terminate the existing contract. Then we'd look for a resolution to approve the new contract. The new contract also does include the minimum assessment agreement, which is part of the TIF agreement. We have sent that through Dakota County. Dakota County came back at a minimum assessment of $16.1 million, slightly lower than the 17.2, give or take, that we had originally anticipated. But again, that's just an estimate, and what that really affects ultimately is how quick that TIF note gets paid off. We had Northland take a look at it. We still, even at the 16.1 minimum assessment, paid off within the 20-year note. And so we're comfortable with that. But so that's what we're looking for this morning. First, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-25, and then followed by Resolution 2022-26 for the new contract.
Okay. Is there any questions that anyone has for Eric?
For concurrent adoption.
You can do that.
We have a motion to adopt the resolution 2022-25 and also adopt the resolution 2022-26. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? And that carries. So next on the agenda is revolving loan to RH Holding LLC.
Thank you, Mr. President. So HEDRA has received an application, as was mentioned, from RH Holdings LLC. That is the company which owns the property located at 1250 South Frontage Road, currently where Spiral Foods Co-op is located. HEDRA is obviously aware of the expansion that Spiral Foods is going through based on the loan that you all approved to them. The building owner is also doing a number of improvements. They got financing through Vermilion Bank as well, and had a couple of unanticipated expenses, mostly related to electrical upgrades as well as some site upgrades as well. As a result, they're looking for additional financing through HEDRA. They did have Vermillion Bank take on the first position mortgage of the property. The total project cost is $189,900. They're seeking $20,000 in financing from HEDRA. HEDRA would receive a second position mortgage against the property. We're also proposing a guarantee from RH Holdings LLC itself. In your packet here, it included a 3.75% fixed rate based on the parameters of the project. In further conversation with the property owner, they're going to be doing some upgrades to the fire suppression system as well, with creating essentially 2 leasable spaces where now currently only is 1. So they do qualify for an additional 0.25% reduction in their fixed interest rate. So we've got it prepped and ready for a 3.5% fixed interest rate, still over the 5-year term. Because it is a real estate loan, your policies allow for it to go across 10 years. Staff is proposing a 5-year term with the additional 1-year payment-free, interest-free. That's due to their current lease structures. They've got Spiral Foods for 5 years, and they also have a chiropractor for 5 years with the 2 additional lease extensions. And so to line up with that kind of guaranteed, so to speak, cash flow, we want to propose that 5-year term. Their other 0.25% interest rate reduction is based on securing at least 60% of the project cost through private financing. That's through Vermillion Bank. So this one's a little bit more straightforward than the last one, but certainly if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Question, is the guarantee a personal guarantee by a member of the LLC? Is that what that means?
The guarantee is a guarantee of the LLC, and so all the holdings of that LLC would then be subject to, we could pursue for payback.
Understood. Okay, thanks.
So the loan is to RHL Holding LLC?
The loan, correct, the RH Holdings LLC would be the person we provide the loan to.
So typically you have the owners of the LLC personally guarantee it, do we not?
Okay. We don't have that prepped at this time. We certainly could request that if you'd like.
I would request that if that, to me, that makes sense. They are the entity, really, so. And then also, I know our program is set for the 3.5% rate, but rates have gone up quite a bit. When do we review that? That has nothing to do with this one, but.
Mr. President, we can review any of your programs at any time that HEDRA would like. So if that's a biannual, annual, whatever you'd like.
Okay, well, we have a motion to, any other questions, first of all, for Eric? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve this? And a second? All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, and that carries. So Eric, I guess I'd like to see the personal guarantee if we could get that.
Also, where are the interest rates on commercial loans now? I have no idea. I know what what I'd have to pay as a homeowner, but I'm wondering where we're at.
Well, when we set this up and we said it was at 3.5 or 3.25%, I can't remember where.
Between 3 and 4.
That's where prime rate was. So today prime rate is at 4.5%. That's the only reason I brought that up, is that maybe we should over time look at that. But commercial loans are probably in about 5. 30-year mortgages is 4.9, somewhere in there. So for homeowners, and that's a big change from before where it was at 2.9. So rates have gone up quite a bit.
I still want it, I'm still okay with it being a little under, just to, help our local business community, but maybe sometime down if the Fed continues to do what they promise that they're going to continue to do, we need to put it on the agenda. Take a look at it.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a facade improvements program, a grant for 117 2nd Street East.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yep, this one's, we received an application from Beth Warner, who owns 117 2nd Street East, most commonly referred to as the Meyer Building. They've got a pretty substantial roofing project that they need to undertake here and are seeking assistance through HEDRA. The total project cost is just over $43,000. This application came in following the grant that had been previously approved for the Masonic building, that roughly $2,300, just shy of $2,300. So that's what the grant award potentially would be for this applicant, even though they certainly far exceed the matching requirement required to receive a potential total of $5,000 if we had additional funds available. In reviewing this with our city planner in terms of getting the roof fixed, so that being a vital need of that, where essentially where the roof is failing, the rubber roof, the ceiling at the front facade, and so if water continues to get back behind that, it could undermine the front facade of the building. And so we do see this as an important project to get done. It does not require review by the HPC, but certainly does hold an important place in terms of protecting the historic integrity of that structure. They've got Atlas Roofing as a proposed contractor. We've reviewed their qualifications and seem more than qualified to do both the rubber roof sections and the shingle roof sections of the project. So with that, we'd look for a motion to approve the resolution as presented for the grant, just shy of $2,300.
Okay, do we have a motion for that?
I'll move to approve that.
Commissioner Sullivan, and a second? Commissioner Horst, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our reports and information. So we have our 2023 HEDRA budget preview.
Thank you, Mr. President and Commissioners. We're putting together our budget for 2023 here. I thought it'd be a good time to look at what we had in the budget for 2022 and potential priorities that we're considering for 2023. So within your packet, I put an update of information that we had upon adoption of the budget, which outlines some of our major programs. Last year, we put money into our redevelopment capital using a portion of our fund balance to purchase property. And as you know, we did end up purchasing properties on Block 28, that block between 4th and 5th Street west of Vermillion, with Country Nights and Rivertown Liquors. We expended just under $500,000 there on purchase of those properties. UBC lumber redevelopment, we put funds into that. That actually worked out better for us because we were able to sell the building. So we didn't expend as much funds because the building itself was of value and was sold and moved off the site and ready for the stencil development. On the commercial rehab grants, we had $50,000 allocated, and as with the last motion, we've expended all $50,000 of it. So it's been a successful program. With our commercial rehabilitation loans and grants, this is a program that we've had for many years. $120,000 we've allocated towards that in the past. As of today, we've spent about 70, so we're a little over half spent and not quite halfway through the year. So we're on track on that. And then some smaller expenses for intern and marketing that we have. So that's what we had for 2022. We're looking at bringing those forward for 2023, but for the UBC lumber, obviously, that's a completed project. The numbers in that will probably be very similar to what we've seen. What I'm looking at as well is our strategic plan and other priorities. We're also working on a business incubator, which would be trying to determine the specific need and role for HEDRA in providing space for new business to foster their growth. This could be something that we may operate in a building that we own. We're trying to make a determination of what the need is out there. We were fortunate to receive a $15,000 grant from the Doffing Fund to assist in planning, so we'll be using that this year and into next year on that. But that's something that we're considering as far as potential funding for the 23 budget. The other one is future industrial park planning. This has been an item that's been on our list for a number of years. We have land within the industrial park, as you know. We have a large piece of 50 acres. If that piece was to go, which would be great, we would be down to probably 5 or 6 lots, smaller lots within there. So it would be good for us to start planning for that growth. Would next year be it? That's the question that's out there. And then the downtown alley improvements. We have this Maker's Mark Alley that Eric has been doing this year and last year, investigating incentive programs to create kind of commercial rehabilitation space, being able to take the alleyway that exists right now and make it more inviting for commercial development. So not sure exactly what that would be, but looking at potential funding to do some investigation in that. So those are the general topics that we're looking at for our 2023 budget. And so as we move forward in the month of June, we'll be putting more detail into that, submitting that to our finance staff here by, I think, July 8th or 9th, and then update and approval of budgets later on after that by HEDRA. So I just wanted to give HEDRA a sneak peek of what we're thinking at this point and any comments or questions, suggestions that you may have. So thank you.
Yeah, questions that we have for John?
I do. Yeah, definitely. I noticed that the construction's moving along on the storage unit place. Directly across from that, there's the large grassy area. That's the contemplated area for the next development? Is that kind of the next section that we're proposing?
It could be. I mean, the area we're looking, I think you were speaking of is south of 31st Street. It's privately owned right now within the township. From a comprehensive planning standpoint, we haven't looked at it that way formally, but informally, it seems to be a logical extension of the park. So that would be an area I think we'd look at, yes.
How is it zoned right now? Is that industrial, or could it be commercial, or could it be residential as well?
Right. With our comprehensive plan, I think it's guided for residential development.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Next on the agenda is our Highway 61.
Yeah, Highway 61 study. As I think many of you know, MnDOT is planning a very major reconstruction of Highway 61 coming up in 25 and 26, so a couple of years down the road. They're going forward with a planning process right now as to what that should look like. And starting their public process, they had a meeting, open house, May 18th. The purpose of that open house was not to show any plans, or more to understand how people use the corridor, what they would change in the corridor. I think one of the questions that MnDOT and their consultants asked us, if there's one thing that you could change or see better, what would that be? So really trying to gauge that. They've had some very active online comments and a map that people could put comments on. There should be in next week or two a summary of the comments from that meeting and where we're at this point. We've been participating as staff with their project management team meeting twice a month, so that's been very helpful. And then they're also going to be making a push here to door knock individual businesses, I think over the next month or so, to get comments from individual businesses there as well. So this will be something that'll be ongoing. I put in there the project website as well for folks to follow along, so I can stand for any questions on that.
Irfan?
John, is there a way, 25, 26 can feel like a long ways out, but I just don't want it to stop a potential business today saying, well, I'm just going to wait this one out till this is all done and then come in. If a potential business wanted to come on 61, do they go through the MnDOT office, or do they come through your office to kind of get a feel for where of what they want to do, or what they might run into?
Sure. I got a real world example of that right now, actually, because we have a KFC proposed at the corner of 18th and Vermilion. So typically what we do in that type of process, if it's along a state highway, MnDOT's notified. So we've done that. And then we're also working with the project team so that they're aware of it. On 18th Street, it's more critical because one of the things that we've been contemplating is, would that be a location for a future stoplight? And so we want to make sure that this business here fits into that. So the short answer right now is we don't have a lot of plans for MnDOT right now on what the corridor would look like. So we're letting people be aware of that as projects come along, but certainly not going to be prohibitive for anything.
I hope that they come through your office, personally. Just let any potential business that wants to be part of 61's growth should come through our city hall, not through MnDOT, because I think it's going to get lost over at MnDOT. So
Correct.
hopefully we can get that message out that if you have an interest in being part of the corridor in the future, come through City Hall. Thank you.
Other questions? None, okay.
Just moving on to development update, already updated the first one, which is we do have a KFC coming at 18th and Vermillion. That's going to Planning Commission next Monday night for their review. That's the old Freedom Erickson site on the northwest corner. Fleet Farm, we've issued permits for reconstruction of the exterior of the building, and you can see the new paint job going on there, which is nice. The interior of the building looks like a Fleet Farm now, putting up shelving. They're just about done there. They're on target to open up this fall. We did look at some changes to Colburn's. They want to put in a Caribou Coffee drive-through near the gas station site, kind of an active area there. We went through a couple of iterations on that, approved their plan, so you may be seeing that come forward in the near future. Jersey Mike's is under construction on Vermillion Street. That's moving along. Vermillion Acres, which is the senior development on County Road 47. They should be turning dirt any day now. I haven't been over there lately, but I think they're finishing up their demolition permit. We have their pre-construction meeting, so they're going to be starting construction there shortly. We all know what's happening with Lake Isabel Flats with the stencil development. And the Makers Alleyway Market, Eric's done a phenomenal job putting that together. We have vendors lined up here. The first one is this Thursday, right? Yep, this Thursday the 9th, and continuing on through the summer. And Heritage Ridge continues. Villas at Pleasant, nice to see. We had 2 or 3 more permits in the last week there. We had the one house that was constructed, the model, and we didn't see anything for a long time. Permits are rolling in there. So that's kind of the major topics.
Questions for John? Thank you for the update. Next would be previous information, or we don't need to go through that? We have.
We have a recognition of an outgoing commissioner here with Commissioner Sullivan. Just wanted to take a moment to thank her for her service over the last 6 years. She served in a variety of different roles on this commission, for president, vice president, and treasurer. Her background in legal has been very helpful in the minutia of documents that we go through, especially this morning. So being a commissioner can kind of be a thankless job. There's a lot of time that goes into it, sometimes a lot of early mornings that go into it. So I wanted to thank her for her time spent here and wish her the best in the future.
Appreciate it. It's been lovely.
And on that note too, we did have a appointment by the council last night of Ben Anderson, who will be serving on the commission coming up at our July meeting.
Well, the hospital is still, because it's regional, so yeah, because I've now moved to Egan and my law office is in Egan as well, so that's why. It's not because I don't love you guys. So unfortunately, yeah, I've kind of stepped back from a lot of my roles, but I've taken on new ones. I'm on the ethics board for the lawyers in Dakota County now, too, and some other things. So moving on to different capacities of service to the community, so, but thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's the end of our meeting.
That's all I
so
had.
we're looking for a motion to adjourn our meeting today.
I'll move to adjourn.
And second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One last